I was recently working on a data project where I needed to standardize column names before putting them into a database. Now, Polars has a couple of functions for changing column names, but it's limited to all lowercase or all uppercase. Those are the two options. I needed Pascal case, so I decided to create a custom expression to do that. I had so much fun creating the first one that I decided to create other common naming conventions like camel case, snake case, and Pascal snake. Let's dive into this and show you how to use these custom functions. To make things easier for you, I've placed these functions into a Python package called Polars Extensions. With that said, you'll need to download that first. Visit pypy.org to view the project and get instructions on how to install it via pip. I've included a link in the description below. Once you have the package ready to go, you can go ahead and import the libraries. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to import Polars as PL, and then we're going to import Polars extensions, add the extensions part on there, as PLX. Now, we aliased the Polars extensions library as PLX, but the functions we'll be using won't actually require us to call it. This is because the package is registered with Polars. Whenever you register custom functions in Polars, you can use them as if they are already native functions. Thus, upon simply importing the Polars extensions package, those functions will be available to you. However, to use them, you'll need to use the proper namespace. We'll show you that in just a few moments. For now, let's go ahead and run the cell. Now that we've imported the packages, let's import the data that we'll be working with. So we're going to have this employees CSV file that we're going to read in just a second. We're going to do that by saying data and set it equal to pl.read CSV. And then we're going to pass the employees CSV file. Okay, now I do want to display this data so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Go ahead and just type the variable below and run the cell. And in the output, you can see that this file is using snake case. When I was working on the data project I mentioned earlier, my file had spaces in the column headers. And this was annoying because the database best practices required Pascal case, so my options at that point were to manually remap all column names or create a custom function. Obviously, I chose the latter. Having functions that give you the ability to quickly change case conventions is extremely helpful. Let me show you how to use these functions. Okay, so the first one we're going to use is Pascal snake. Now, we're going to simply just type out our variable here, so data, and then we're going to call the namespace that I mentioned earlier off of this. Now, the Polars extension namespace for these case conventions are name underscore ext. Okay, so this is going to give us, once we hit another period here, it's going to give us a list of all of the functions available within that namespace. Now, I did say we wanted to do Pascal snake first, so let's go ahead and do that. And make sure when you use this, if you're using the helpers, that you close it with open and close parentheses. That actually calls the function. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. And in the output, as promised, you get Pascal snake. Now, that was so much easier than having to remap everything, and you can probably see now, if you're working on different data projects, how much value this can really bring to those. Now, let's go ahead and show you a few other ones. Let's go ahead now and try Pascal case. So I'm actually going to just copy and paste from the cell above, and then we're going to just say, we can actually just cut this piece out. So we're going to say to Pascal case. That's another function you can use. We'll run that. And once again, this is in the project that I was working on, this is the format that I wanted. You can see that the first letter of each word is in uppercase, and then that underscore has been removed from that original file. So that'll work if you have spaces. It'll work on different file formats. Okay, with that said, let's show you one more just to kind of see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead again and copy and paste from above. And this time we're going to say to camel case. Go ahead and run that. Okay, so this one is common with JavaScript. It's where the first letter of the first word is lowercase, and then every subsequent word after that has an uppercase in the first letter. So some pretty common cases that you might be using here, and these functions can save you a lot of time. I actually, like I said, I paused my data project to develop these name extensions in the hopes that I could save time in the future. Obviously, it would have maybe been faster to just go ahead and adjust them manually in an editor or something like that, or just remap them within Polars itself. But now these functions are out there and you can use them at any time. All right, if you have any suggestions for other case conventions not covered in the Polars extensions package, I invite you to visit the repository, open an issue, or simply drop a comment in the chat here below. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch up with you at the next one.